Yeah, he took
Yeah,
a picture of the podcast channel.
I feel like I am super sepia tone right now.
Oh, frosty palms, baby, delish. Ooh,
Oh,
Roman candle. We're
Deluxe
all
beer over
having
there.
some good stuff, and then I got the old Silversmith Black Lager.
Ooh, nice. Yeah, I was wondering what you were drinking.
Stuff's phenomenal.
Silversmith. I don't think I've ever had Silversmith.
It's right down the street. Well, not right down the street. It's like a 25-minute drive, but it's cool. It's an old church that they converted into a brewery.
Did we not go? Did we go to there together?
We have been there. Yeah, it's a little bit blasphemous, I guess you could. Oh no, the priests and stuff, they imbibed. Monks drink a ton, man. Monks drink a
all
ton.
kinds of shit. Yeah, exactly.
You came to that too, right, Nick?
What's
Silversmith? That was like for our the
Yeah.
bachelor.
What's that
thing.
for? Shit, I think
Yeah.
that was
We went to the
Silverdale. We went to Silverdale Gun Club.
College.
We went to Niagara Teaching College.
Yep.
I think I drove probably way too drunk,
We
which was
Is that- is
a
that
bad.
on
It
the
was
record
bad.
on Twitch now?
Yeah, it's going on the
your
public
words,
record.
not mine.
That was. I think I drove. Did I drive? Or we had two people drive. I think we had
Nick
two
drove.
people drive.
It was you and me,
Yeah,
and
Oh,
I
God.
agree with your original statement.
yeah.
Is it
Well,
anything
we
else?
ended up downtown Niagara. Like we went to
Mhm.
we stayed there overnight at the hotel. But like
Oh God, man, yeah, the steaks. We went to, was it Ruth Chris's? No,
Yep.
no, it was. Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
it was,
yeah, I think
it
it was
was.
Ritz Chris. That was phenomenal.
Oh,
but holy shit, I was done after.
that was
I
my
was-
only time ever being there. It
Fuck,
was really
I
cool.
I was so full. You and so me and your brother, and I think we were just walking around Niagara, just randomly, just up and down the strip, just because we had blown our money at the casino already. I was trying to pass like a brick, like red meat and I don't get along, and it was like a yeast effect with all that beer earlier in the day. So it was good times.
That was quite the day.
I remember the bathtub full of the tall bottles of Karma Citra that we happened to find at the LCBO that we hit.
I remember that. Yeah, back when it was in bottles only.
Yeah, the
They had
big
really good bottles too.
wine bottle size beers.
Oh, I don't remember that. That's cool.
Yeah, they were really nice bottles too. Like they were like not etched or whatever, but they had that cool like imprint or whatever you call it on them.
Yeah, etching.
Yeah.
Is
They
it?
were cool.
I guess etching. Well, yeah, they were really cool.
Does anybody know any of the breweries in Whitby? Looks like
There's lots of breweries
three or
out there.
Whitby?
four that are popping up.
Town Brewery is really good.
Towns
Five
here.
five paddles.
Yeah. Oh, okay, so Dan knows all the breweries in Whitby.
Brock
apparently.
Brock Street.
Brock Street, yeah. Little Beasts.
Yeah.
Looks like
If
that's
you
an
could,
auction one.
he's got his list already there. He's already Googled it. It's fine.
Falcon Brewing Company.
No, the only reason I know is because I can't. Matt doesn't stop yapping about all the breweries out there because he lives just north of Whitby.
You still talk to him
Yeah.
relatively often? Yeah?
Yeah, I talk to him
That's
every
it.
day probably.
No shit. Yeah.
That's cool. All are
You guys work together, don't you?
Well, we did twice. And I've known him my whole life basically. So, like literally since I was 5, I think. So.
Okay.
Yeah, was he your brother's friend originally?
Yeah.
Was that
Yeah.
the story?
Yeah. And then since my
Neat.
brother moved away, I was basically his second choice.
Almost
Nice.
as good.
Yeah.
Nice.
My rich light. Rich Junior.
Oh man, Biomutant comes out next week. God damn.
I'm torn about that. Like, it looks good, and I'm kind of desperate to play something really open world, kind of in depth. And you know what though? I griped about it not being multiplayer, but at the same time, Horizon Zero wasn't multiplayer and open world, and I was like knee
I
deep.
loved
Like,
every second of it. Yeah.
if that were to come out tomorrow, I would have to throw a lot of money at a PS5. Although it's coming out for PS4 as well, so I'm
Yeah,
not
which is
gonna-
weird. I kind of wish it wasn't. Just because
Why, you think they dumbed the game down for the PS4?
Yeah.
Well, that doesn't mean that the good version has to be dumbed down, right?
Yeah, they can.
Well, think of what they did with Final Fantasy VII, right? If you had an older platform, they had what is it? They neutered it down a little bit.
Yeah. I know, like it could still definitely be better on PS5, but like Ghost of Tsushima on PS5 versus PS4, it's like it's still really nice on PS4. It's definitely better on PS5, but it's not mind-blowing or anything.
It's negligible. And if you look at what they did with Horizon Zero Dawn and the first one, and think of how long ago that was on the current gen console,
yeah.
You know, they're just going to optimize the hell out of it. But I mean, I got a 4 Pro. I mean, like, I'm not dying or anything like that about it.
Are they still using the Decima engine for that?
Your guess is as good as mine. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, it's their engine. They're using Decima.
Because that thing, apparently that scales incredibly well.
Yeah. That's why they were able to release it on PC with all the bells.
Yeah, so easily, I think. Yeah, like Death Stranding, Horizon Zero Dawn.
Death Stranding too. Although I
can't remember what else they used that engine.
Not without their own set of issues. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's any port in general, though, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like when you have an exclusive that you move, it's always going to be full of bugs and flaws.
So the review embargo ends May 24th at 8 a.m. 11 a.m. Eastern.
Oh, yeah,
Biomutant?
For Biomutant, yeah.
Biomutant next month.
And when does it come out, though?
Well, for
the
Andy's
day after. The day after.
It's like Cyberpunk.
So the only thing they've said is that there's like you pre-order, you get access immediately to one class type. I think it was like a samurai class type or something. But you will get access to that class type anyway if you just play the game.
You know what? I think I'm going to wait for some in-depth reviews.
Yeah,
before I pull the trigger on it.
Yeah, if it's getting 6s and 7s, I'm skipping it. But if it's like high 7s or 8s, I'm like, yep, sure, let's do it.
No, I think
Andy's gonna buy it, right?
Oh yeah,
I think so. He was pretty pumped for it.
Okay.
Like it looks, everything about it looks amazing, but I'm like, I just really, it's the first game these guys have ever made, so I'm like.
Well,
I am a little.
It could totally go either way. It could be fucking amazing. It literally could be absolutely amazing, or it could be like a bug-ridden piece of crap. I have no idea.
A part of me, it feels like a game that would be naturally good for co-op, but whatever. What do I know?
If we're gonna talk about video games, maybe we should.
What do you know, Nick? What do you know?
Whole lot of Zero.
A whole lot of.
I know how to fill up a pool and vacuum a pool, and that's about the extent of it.
Does it still leak water, or is that? Fixed?
Yeah, I think I actually found it's not. It is in the liner, but it's high up on the side, near the top, because they said that if you truly had a pinhole leak, it's like a water balloon. If you were to get a really big water balloon and put a pinhole in it, the amount of water that comes out of it is phenomenal, really quick. And they were like, put that into a 10,000 gallon pool, and the amount of water pressure that would, push out, it would be like a stream, a steady stream. They said you would lose inches in a day. And I'm like, all right, well, I'm losing millimeters in a day. And that's because I think the hole is near the surface of the water, so the tension is not as significant as if it were to be further down. And I was running my hand around the liner, and I think I might have found it. It feels like somebody had taken a toothpick and pushed really hard against it. I could be wrong, but we'll see.
That's weird, yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
Hey, John.
But I mean, it's not leaking inches, and that makes me happy at least.
So they're gonna fix it though, of course.
I wouldn't trust them for they're like used car salesmen, unfortunately.
All right, but you're gonna fix it, of course.
I'm going to identify if that's actually the hole.
How would you?
It is subsequently right above where we are getting a bit of a leak, and I just put more water in the pool just because we are getting evaporation and the kids are splashing around and whatnot. So.
Okay.
We'll see if, time will tell.
Cool.
Oh, John's gracing us with his beautiful visage.
He changed spots again.
His glorious visage. That's
never
quite
know.
that's quite the whiteboard you got there, John.
Where are you gonna go?
Lots of tasks at hand.
Yeah.
Can you scrum on that thing?
Yeah.
Can you
board,
can you
please?
do
I'd
some
like to see
scrum coaching?
Yeah, that's it.
You know what? If you're gonna have a board, you can at the very least have like sticky notes and stuff like on the wall. You know, make it pretend that you're working hard.
Yeah, those notes on Nick's wall are just like buy
Very
more
blank
lube.
board.
They all just say buy more lube.
It's like the Charlie Day thing. He just needs all the string like
Yeah,
attached to it.
yeah, the wild.
Oh man.
Deep into thought.
Postal room when we were working like the post.
I can't remember what
like the
it was.
post room.
Yeah.
They were trying to the mail. Was that one?
Yeah, it's all through the mail, I tell you.
All through the mail. You're losing it.
So yeah, I might as well do this little spiel here.
Yep.
Hello, world. This is the Joysticks Canada Games Cast, the #1 video game podcast in the world. I'm Dan
Like anyone to
John.
prove otherwise.
Yeah, no one can prove it. Well, they can easily prove it. Yeah, I'm Dan John. I'm joined by Richard Marginson, Nicholas Van Vlyman, Jonathan Tracy,
Hello.
and Michael Black.
Bam.
Black.
Whammy.
Whammy, no touchbacks.
You could touch me as much as you want.
Ooh.
Oh.
You got 3 kids. I know.
Even under the shirt.
Can I start with a piece of news?
Oh yes, please. 'Cause
Okay.
I don't know what the hell's going on in the world of video games.
Neither do I. I literally came to OpenCritic.com minutes before this started. Apparently, Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade. Fuck you, Square.
Yes.
The PS5 version of Final Fantasy VII comes out the day before Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart.
I thought
Good timing.
I
Wow.
thought it was out like in the fall.
No.
I thought it was like September or
Instead, it's
something.
here.
They
June
got
12th.
they got 2 releases. They got one for old gen and they got
Oh,
one for current
piss
gen.
off! Seriously?
Yeah.
That's dumb.
The
This
difference
is the
between
PS5
integrate.
version. Yeah, this is
Yeah,
the
the
integrated one.
Yeah, the integrate for PS4 I think comes out sooner.
I
Are
thought.
they also doing an integrate for PS4 with the Yuffie DLC?
Oh my
Yeah.
god! See,
Okay.
I thought it was only PS5.
No, they have it for PS4, and there's differences. Like I was saying earlier, I think when you get it for the PS4, you can get it for the PS5 automatically, or there was something along those lines. But with
It's-
the integrate,
Yeah.
it's for the PS4 as well because I can get it, but the quality is not as good. So they did a side by side comparison on the two, and I was just like, I'll wait. It's fine. I want the whole trilogy so I can play it like start to finish without having to wait.
That's cute. You think it's going to be a trilogy?
That's nice, Nick.
That's so
Does
nice.
anyone want to tell him? Does anyone want to tell Nick?
Buddy, this is going to be forever.
Your
You're gonna
grandkids will
wait
be
forever.
still
They-
waiting.
Like they
So,
did,
okay,
they did
well,
Midgard for the first episode. Like,
okay, well, hey, easy.
6
easy.
hours. I think it was 6 hours in the original game.
exactly.
Take it easy. Jeez, are they gonna do it like a release per disc on the original version? Like,
Yeah.
What, 5 discs or some 7 discs or whatever the hell it was?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Yeah, why not? I could see them doing that. I mean, they completely remade this game. Like it's its own standalone. Okay.
Yeah.
Mike, I think you might be the only person that's played this game here, and I'm talking like.
Yeah, I platinumed it. I thought
Yeah.
it was fantastic. Really enjoyed it.
Totally
But-
great, but it's
Yeah.
different from the original section of
Completely.
that game. Yeah, so like if that's what they're gonna do with big swaths and sections of this video game, they're gonna be at this fucking forever.
Yeah.
Yeah, this will be
You're-
like a
you're gonna
side
have
Final
14
Fantasy that'll just keep going
Yeah,
with
that's
their,
it.
their installments of the actual, mainline franchise, right?
I imagine it took them some non-zero amount of time to build out the engine and the assets and stuff, and that'll be saved in save time kind of in future releases. But it's still if they're planning to do the same treatment for other parts of the game, it's gonna take forever.
Yeah, I can't see it taking as long as it did for this one, for like the next installment or
version,
whatever.
yeah.
But it depends on how big they want to make it, right? Because like the first one was like just one. It was like it was just Midgard. It was like, what the hell? Like the next one's gonna be what? The rest of the entire world. Because as soon as you leave the city, it's like, okay, here you go, do whatever you want now.
Well, they
To a certain
they
extent.
added that mini game that was part of the original one, where you got to defend that city type of thing, and they're like enemies are crawling up the side of the mountain or whatever the case is. So I think they've kind of amalgamated that style of mini game, because I saw that there was something along those lines, but it also kind of looked like Final Fantasy Tactic a little bit built into it. So I could be completely off course here.
Well, Andy's
You said
Andy's
the
ears are burning now.
Yeah, I was gonna say you said the magic words.
That'd be great if Andy just popped up. Huh? What's that?
Hi,
Somebody said tactic. What?
Yeah, tactics, anything.
I said it sucked. Hated it. Hate tactics.
And then he disappears and shows up behind you.
Did you really not like tactics?
I never got into them.
Final Fantasy
I
Tactics
tried.
is the only one that I've ever really enjoyed.
It was the one I got the most into. Yeah, aside
It was
from
so
Skyrim.
good. It was
Oh,
so
man, it
good.
was great. Oh, man, I want to play Tactics right now. How can I play Tactics right now? Is it on Steam?
It's on everything now, I think. But
Is
yeah.
it really?
So yeah, I wanted to just for some shits and gigs. I wanted to talk about platforming games because Ratchet and Clank is coming out like really soon, actually. 3 weeks?
Yeah, June 11th.
3, 4 weeks? I don't know, whatever. But like, there's been a crap load of stuff, like a lot of good platformers. It seems like the genre had like gone away, but it kind of hasn't. There's still a pretty healthy number of.
I think it's just evolved, right? I mean, like, do you even consider
Yeah, there you go.
Ratchet and Clank really a true platform in that sense of the matter? I mean, like, really, it's evolved so much that if you look at the definition of what a platformer is, it's really a character jumping multiple levels onto platforms.
Yep.
You could qualify that as being a platform, but at the same time, it's a, third-person view shooter. Because, I mean, the reality, that is what you're doing in that game. So, I mean, how do you delineate between that, right?
And that's the thing, like, oh, sorry, go on.
No, I was just gonna say I think its core, so its roots are still in platforming. So I think you can still just like Mario has like, oh, now we're 3D, now you can throw your hat and do. It's still a platformer. Like it's a third-person adventure game, but also it's a platformer.
But that's like every Crash Bandicoot, every Spyro the Dragon, any of the Skylander games. I mean, they all kind of follow the same formula, right? So,
I think like what makes a platforming game. It's like I think overall it, like just even looking through this list that we all put together, kind of thing. It's like over 90% of them, I'd say, are either cartoony or like kid friendly, if you know what I mean. Because like you could go as far as saying like even something like Uncharted has a lot of platforming elements, but it's not a platformer. It's a action adventure game. But it's like, is it though? Because like, is it not a platformer? Same with Tomb Raider, right? Tomb Raider's got a ton of platforming in it.
yeah.
But that's not a platformer. It's not a Mario game. I'm like, well, is it though, or is it just not only a platform? It's an action adventure platformer or whatever.
Yeah.
See, I think the minute that it goes 3D, it changes the perspective of what you would define as a traditional platformer in that sense of the manner, right? You're no longer 2D. You're no longer restricted to elements that are just within the paintable field, right? I mean, now you've got this whole area, right? I mean, arguably, then you could say, like Horizon Zero Dawn could be a platformer. I mean, you're climbing all over stuff, right? So, I mean, it really depends on how you want to define every Metroid game. I mean,
Tomb Raider.
well, yeah, exactly, right?
Yeah, they all Uncharted. They all incorporate some level of platforming, but I wouldn't call them platformers, right? Like that's not their.
Not in the truest sense of the matter, no.
Yeah.
So it's ever since the 80s, it has evolved to being a 2D side-scrolling kind of genre to a 3D platforming kind of genre. And then, yes, there's overlap between the different kinds of genres that they could be. Some of them are going to be action adventure, some of them are going to be a little bit more RPG-ish. And so I think we're just seeing the evolution of what this genre looks like.
Well,
Like-
I think. Sorry, go on.
Oh no, go for it.
I was going to say in the more truer sense of the matter, I think when you look at a game like Ori really does represent what a traditional platformer could be referenced in today's modern times, right? I mean, it's a very modern looking, great story driven game, and it doesn't incorporate any of those 3D elements, even though a lot of the character models are all three-dimensional, right? Its perspective never really changes in the game. And
Yeah, I
is
think
that how
Ori's
you
a
want to?
great example of a platformer. Ratchet and Clank, I disagree. I don't really think it's a platformer personally. It's such a shooter.
Because of
all
like
about getting crazy weapons and stuff, and
Yeah.
I don't know. But it could be argued.
It's
other
definitely yeah. It's like it's got platform elements, right? Like it does have platform elements, but yeah, being a platformer, that's arguable
so does
for
Quake
sure.
3, right? Like I don't know, man. Like
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
king
sure.
of platformers, Mario. Can we agree that Mario is the definition of a platformer?
Well, yeah, like even the original NES Mario and even like the most recent Mario is like it hasn't wavered from that.
That's it. So think about weapons in that sense, right? He's just putting on a different outfit or hat or whatever. Like he's still shooting fireballs. He's still, growing bigger and stomping on people. Like Ratchet just has a different, much more on the nose version of that as part of its platforming.
was the camera locked behind Ratchet? Because I feel like it's looser on Mario, so it feels different for some reason.
No, you can tilt and pivot all the way around. Yeah.
I think with Mario, it's like his quote unquote weapons that he gets are a means to progress through the level, and whereas with Ratchet, it's like to like kill bosses and to kill enemies to get stuff. You know what I mean? Like I never play. Oh, I know. I'm just saying, like, think of it like this. Like, have you ever played a Mario game because you're excited to kill enemies in it? I'm like, I personally have. That's not a selling feature. It's the
Mario
environment.
RPG.
Well, yeah, Mario RPG.
Well, and here's the argument with the original Mario. You could argue that you can make it through the entire game without actually stomping on a Goomba or hitting a turtle or anything like that. The likelihood of that ever happening is probably pretty slim. I mean, it all boils down to timing, but you could argue the fact that you could negotiate an entire level without actually doing anything other than just jumping.
Yeah. But, like, doing that in Ratchet and
Pacifist
Clank
run.
or Jack and Daxter or whatever, like,
Oh,
you
you
can't
can't.
do that because there's, like, those
they
invisible
stop
walls or whatever
Yeah.
that you have to kill these 18 enemies before you can progress. Mario's like, you don't have to. It's just this is a platformer after all.
Well, but
Please continue.
it's a platformer with a definitive start and a definitive end, right?
Yeah.
And there's nothing that says, you have to do X, Y, and Z before you can get to the end. All it means is you just have to negotiate the jumps, the hurdles, the pits, and the holes in order to get there, right? I mean, that is in its truest sense a platformer. I mean, you're negotiating the platforms.
So
How about we try this? What would be like your favorite platformer per, I guess, generation?
or per
so, like,
decade,
starting
for
in the-
per decade, yeah.
Yeah, per
based on our
decade.
list that we kind of have hidden from anyone that's watching lately.
I really liked Were There Any for the 70s.
Yeah,
No, and I actually had to look. And so, funny enough,
there's
it's again, it depends on how loose you want to define what a platformer is.
exactly yeah.
Late 70s, you're talking about like 78, 79, you have not Galaga, you have Galaxian, right? Nintendo also had a game that was very similar in scope where you basically are a character that moves and you're shooting aliens. I mean, that at the time was basically modern technology.
Xevious?
And that was the 70s. And you take away Pong or table tennis, right? And those aren't platformers, not in that sense of the matter. So the 70s, you immediately equate that your limitation is based on technology and based on, that it just wasn't there. I mean, but you get into the 80s and you get Mario, right?
Yeah.
Or you get Donkey Kong. And of course, without Donkey Kong, you don't get Mario, you don't get Mario Brothers, you don't get any of those. And I think really where you start with that is you go, well, is Donkey Kong a platformer?
I'd say yes for sure. It's
Yeah,
like you're
absolutely.
literally jumping on platforms.
But it's so interesting.
Like it's
Somebody wrote Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles here. Like that, I just consider a side scroller. Right? I don't know how that one made it on here, but
But then you could argue that Metroid.
But no, exactly. It's arguable. It's not
Metroid. I would argue is a platformer. There's like much more about the platforming as a method of traversal through that game.
Yeah.
Versus TMNT, which was
okay. Then TMNT and then Castlevania would fall into that as well, because TMNT.
See, that's what I mean. That's what I'm getting at. Is like, yeah, exactly. If one is going to be included, the other has to be. Like, if Metroid's being included as a platformer, then Castlevania obviously is going to be, and then obviously Ninja Turtles
Kid
as well,
Icarus and Ninja Gaiden would like all fall in that side scroller platformer kind of.
Right? But okay, why does it have to be a side scroller? Donkey Kong is not a side scroller. It's a
single
screen.
That's only because it's a single screen. And I think that was more of a technical limitation of the time.
Yeah,
it's
I'm
like,
not thinking that side scrolling is a requirement. I'm just saying there were different types of side scrollers at the time.
like a 2D plane
Contra was
with platform jumping. Like that's
exactly.
Yeah. Well, and Ghouls and Ghosts and Contra I put into the same bucket because you remove the sprites, you remove everything else. You are a single character who is omnidirectional, who can shoot in a variety of directions, and has to go from a definitive start to an indifferent, an end that's further down the line, right? And you've got mini bosses and kind of everything along. But I have a hard time then classifying, games like Metroid, Castlevania into the same kind of bucket that we would put Mario into, right? They're an action adventure 2D side scroller, but we just lost Richard. But then you got like games like Mega Man, right? How does Mega Man fit into that equation too?
So, here, listen, this is hilarious. I actually got a definition of a platform game.
Probably the same one.
This is actually more difficult to define, I think. So there's a couple of things here. There's like the concept of a platform game, right? A platform game requires the player to maneuver their character across platforms to reach a goal, obviously, while confronting enemies and avoiding obstacles along the way. That's like the general consensus, right? So it kind of goes on a little bit, but this is interesting. Like these games are either presented from the side view, using 2D movement, or in 3D with the camera placed either behind the main character or in some sort of isometric perspective.
Well, so if you're going by that definition, then Ratchet and Clank would definitely fall into that. The same with Jak and Daxter, right? Or Spyro. Yeah. Or even, I think Crash Bandicoot probably epitomizes that idea of it just because of how the game is structured, right? The verticality of that game alone.
Yeah.
Sure.
Sonic?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, no, for sure. Sonic is like, I'd almost say like one of the definitive 90s platformers. Because like Mario was all about the 80s.
Holy fuck.
Well, but then could you say could you say Double Dragon would
where's
be a platformer?
Sonic?
Where the fuck did Sonic go? Oh, shit.
So Genesis, if you're going to bucket Ninja Gaiden in there, then there's Shinobi, then there's Shadow Dancer, then there's the arcade Ninja Gaiden I think is more traversal than the NES version of the game. But then you get games like Double Dragon, right? Like
Yeah.
exactly like you
Yeah,
are.
see, that's a
not
brawler. I
necessarily
don't think that's a
hopping.
platformer at all.
Yeah, that's a side-scrolling brawler. And
It's a total brawler,
okay.
yeah.
You're right. Yeah.
I think we've got a
'Cause-
pretty good list here. I do like John's idea. Like, let's go through and give our
Thumbs up,
whatever-
thumbs down, or
Yeah,
like
well,
what your
just like
favorite is, or
just per decade, which is your favorite? If you don't have one per decade, whatever, that's fine. And then
Well, it's an easy
then
one
we'll
for
know
me.
where everybody's loyalty stands.
It's an easy one for me for the 80s, obviously. It's the most controversial pick ever. Super Mario Brothers for NES. Take that. My hot take. My hot takes. No one knows about this one.
I never beat Super Mario Bros. In the 80s, but
I'm
I
sorry,
did
what?
beat Bubble.
What?
Well, in the 80s, like I eventually beat it.
What?
In the 90s when I owned a console.
Okay,
But I
well,
did
this is a conversation for another day. We'll talk about this later.
Okay.
Yes, go.
I did beat Bubble Bobble. But not
Wow.
in the arcade.
Okay, you know what?
Beat it on
I
the console.
yeah. Okay,
Yeah, I did, and
That's
that
a
was
That's a long ass game.
And that was leaving the console
Jesus,
on,
that's a long
hoping
game.
for the fucking best. Coming home at lunch with my buddy Patrick at the time from elementary school, just being like, "We're gonna play a little. Okay, we're gonna go."
And that is a game you can only finish when you got two people.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
and
yes.
you have to
You can't
do it
beat that game
together,
on your
right?
own.
Like we came over every day and we finished that game. So that for me is the definitive like 80s platformer beat in the 80s is the way I'll frame it.
I have the very, very quick story, but I think Nick and John and Mike were there at Tilt. Andy and I were like, we just got sucked into Bubble Bobble. Like, Andy and I started playing it at Tilt.
yeah.
And half an hour into the game, we're like, Andy, like, we're both like, let's beat the game. I was like, yeah, okay, cool. Let's finish it. Because that's like our stupid thing. We have to beat a game.
Yeah.
And they're always co-op games. Anyways, we were playing fucking Bubble Bobble. We get to like level 62 or something. And then I was like, how the fuck long is this game? And I look online, it's like 200 levels or something. Like, oh,
99.
screw this shit. Well, yeah, whatever the hell it was. I was like, oh, fuck
Yeah.
this. I'm not doing this.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
we just
it was
walked
long.
away. As
And
soon
the
as I
last
saw that,
level
I was like, no,
is
we're done.
not- Oh, so you gave it.
Yeah, we gave up for sure. We'd been playing it for about an hour and a half at this point.
Oh wow.
And
Yeah.
we'd got like maybe just over halfway through. I'm like,
So
nope,
remember
I'm
that
not interested.
there was no save point like on the NES, right? Like you couldn't just be like, and
No.
we'll come back next time. It was so I left my system on.
Yep.
And it was a secondhand system, and I didn't own it originally. I bought it at a garage sale thing. Like it was, it was old. Like, it was not in great shape. It was not well loved. So yeah, it was. Anyway, that's mine.
That's
from
awesome,
the
yeah.
80s.
Nick, were you much of an 80s platformer guy?
Mega Man 2.
Oh, nice.
Okay,
Go on.
so I mean,
Come
like
on.
I
Best
could
Mega Man ever.
argue just about any game that's on that list. I was never a Sega Master System guy. Like I had a Nintendo, and
I don't think anyone was.
well, I mean, like I played like Wonder Boy and whatever, but.
Yeah.
But I was an arcade junkie, right? So I mean, for me, you get games like, and I removed this game afterwards, but it was like Frogger, right? Because Frogger, in its earliest, idea is like, while you're not negotiating platforms, you are negotiating platforms in a way that is an obstacle, right? And you're moving back and forth. But definitely games like, Donkey Kong for the ColecoVision and BC. Quest for Tires, like those are the earliest games of my memory that are true to the platform, like Smurfs as well. I remember playing that, but yeah, like for the more modern systems, like when NES came out, yeah, it was definitely Mega Man 2 or Metroid for sure. Like either of those games are interchangeable.
Yeah, sure. No, that makes sense. No, Mega Man
Nick,
2
did
is
you have
phenomenal.
Smurfs for ColecoVision?
Justin Bailey for the Metroid. I mean, like, how can anybody not remember that?
Pretty memorable.
How about you, John?
This is a tough one for me because I played a lot of Nintendo games in the 80s.
Well, this is like one of, if not the best decade for platform games, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because everyone was locked to 2D, so it was like everything was almost default. It had to be a platformer.
I grew up playing Super Mario, but I had a heart in, say, Kid Icarus, and I had a heart in Castlevania. I loved playing both of those games a lot when I was a kid. So I'm
Nice.
gonna have to go with Castlevania though.
Oh yeah, baby.
Good choice.
Just the Belmont.
But then you get Castlevania. Then I go, I think out of all the Castlevanias, while it's not old, it's Symphony of the Night. Like I don't think they've ever.
That's by far the best Castlevania. The you know what, the DS ones came pretty close.
Super close.
They were really good games on the DS.
Those were in the what 2000, 2010.
Yes, they were in the early 2000s because I remember I had the store at the time when they came out, and I remember playing them at the store while I was supposed to be working. Hey, Mike, how about you?
I'm gonna go with Blaster Master for NES.
Ah,
just because,
shit, son.
I rented it so many times and I never beat it. One of these days,
It's a hard-ass
I
game,
might be able to
dude.
get through it. It was pretty hardcore. I just thought it was so cool that you could pop out of your tank.
Yeah,
So
man.
You get the platforming section, and then you've also got the, I guess the top-down sections. Smurfs. It's funny you mentioned that, Nick, because I didn't know there was a really good version of it on ColecoVision. I had it for 2600, like for Atari. And I
Oh
was
god,
like,
that's like the horribly butchered version of. Yeah.
that's like probably the first actual platformer I actually played. Is before I played Mario.
We all have fond memories of certain games, and I laugh at it because you think about the innocence of what video game technology was back in the 80s.
Yeah.
And you think, crap, like in television and ColecoVision, like the Atari systems, people just lost their shit when they had like pixelated anything playing on like back and forth. So, for me to criticize, ColecoVision version of Smurfs versus, it's a tough one.
So much better. It was like Super Nintendo versus Nintendo. It was crazy. I just played it like a few weeks ago. Like,
Really?
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Just to have like that blast from the past. Remember the music. I remember the sounds of the stupid birds that would like swoop through the sky at you.
That was
And then like the ColecoVision thing. I was like, holy fuck, this looks really good. It's a lot better than I remember.
I have to give
Yeah.
a very, very slight honorable mention for myself for Load Runner for the Commodore 64.
the Load Runner. That was always good.
That was the first game I ever played where I made my own levels. And this is fucking going back, like, I think I was 8 or 9 years old doing, like, making my own levels in Load Runner on a computer. I was like, this is fucking mind-blowing. And I got my brother to come down and play my levels and stuff. I'm like, holy shit, this is so cool. But that
You're
is
a
like,
game designer
that is
back then.
definitely a platforming game. It's quite literally you're building platforms to walk on. So, anyways, yeah. Just thought I'd toss that little gem in there. Yeah, then we got the 90s. The badass 90s. The hardcore 90s.
Extreme. Play it loud.
Yeah.
Blast processing.
Yeah, blast processing all up in this bitch. Jack and Daxter. The Jack and Daxter was not 90s.
No.
Yeah, it was 2001. Yeah, close enough. It's just because it was I was like PS2 didn't come out in the 90s.
Spyro's 90s.
Yeah, Spyro is 90s.
Yep.
And that is definitely a platformer. There's no question about that one. It's a collectathon platformer, as you might want to call it, but yeah. I personally love those types of games, but the whole collectathon, like, fuck the gems, getting all the gems in the level and unlocking this and that, and hell, I played the Spyro trilogy, the remastered trilogy, and it was really good.
Pick that up. I can't wait to try it out, man.
It's good, man. It's a lot of fun. It's like the controls are definitely upgraded, the graphics are all upgraded, everything's looks awesome, it plays great.
Nice.
That being said, like, don't expect it to blow your mind in terms of like level
Oh.
design and like placement
Yeah.
of things, because that's all identical to the original game. So it's like, but at the same time, it's super fun and relaxing just to go around and like, it's not a difficult game.
It's one of those you can just pick up and play whenever, right?
Yeah, like that's what I was doing. I would just hop around random games. I'd be like, I'll play Year of the Dragon, I'll play Ripto's Rage or whatever. I'll just hop back and forth between them all. And it was, yeah, it was really good. And it was, I think it was the same company that did the Crash Bandicoot remaster, right? Am I crazy? I don't know.
Oh.
I thought it
No
was.
idea.
Anyways, yeah, it was really good. It was really good. Holy shit, Yoshi's Island was out in the 90s? Oh yeah, it would have been,
Yes.
wouldn't it? Super Mario
Yes, sir.
Worlds 1 and 2 were in the 90s.
Yeah.
I'm still going Sonic.
God damn.
I'm going
If
Sonic.
it was like a continuation of a series, I kind of was like, unless it was groundbreaking for that series, I didn't put it in every single decade.
Oh,
there's
Nick, do you
Super
have to
Metroid
put
is
in
one
that?
that definitely
Oh.
deserves to be on that list. Though. It's
But
true.
yes,
God
like
damn it,
Super
Nick.
Metroid actually changed how Metroid,
Yeah.
like the feel of it, the look of it, just the cult following behind it.
Oh, you got a Metroidvania theme going so far, John.
I'm still going with Sonic.
Is you know what? Is Symphony of the Night really 90s? Yeah, it would be the late 90s. No, 94. 90. Cause that was first generation PlayStation.
It was 97.
97. Oh my crap.
Yeah.
All right.
There was there's some interesting systems out in the 90s as well. So, like Virtual Boy is one of those I think I had one friend that had Virtual Boy at the time, and then you were
Wow.
able to play like Mario Clash. So you could jump in a tube on one platform, and it would take you all around, and you'd pop out on the other side. So you get a little bit of 3D depth, but in your platformer, which is
I only ever
like
played Mario
mind-blowing.
Tennis. Mario Tennis on Virtual Boy. They had one at Toys R Us in, where the hell was it? I think the one in Mississauga. Like this is years and years ago, but like they had a Virtual Boy set up with Mario Tennis, and I even remember back then being like, "Wow, this fucking sucks." Like, this was on display, and I look at the price, and it's like 300 Canadian for the system, and then the games were
Ridiculous.
like 50 or 60 bucks each. I'm like, fuck no.
Yeah, this guy's parents were loaded, so I was like, all right.
There you go. But then,
Yeah.
that being said, then I went and bought a Saturn with like 4 games when it came out, and it was insanely expensive, but anyways.
Yeah. But there was, again, some interesting games that kind of popped up
Oh, yeah,
in
for
the
sure.
90s. Like Earthworm Jim was one of those ones that I played a lot of,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
and it had that interesting sense of humor around it.
Shit, what
And
about
then-
like Metal Slug? Would you consider that a platformer? I
what I
would
thought.
consider that like a side-scrolling shooter almost, but it's like
Can you even jump? Like, you can't even like go
no,
up.
no,
Oh, yeah.
you can.
Oh, yeah,
can.
you can.
Shit,
Oh, yeah.
no, it's like a Contra, but
It-
with
it-
like stubby guys, you know?
Yeah. It is basically a prettier version of Contra.
Yeah, an
So,
insanely
and-
well animated version.
Although you cannot go omnidirectional, right? It does lock you in a single direction,
That's
right?
right.
Like Contra. I was thinking about that too because I mean, they had a lot of games on the SNK system.
Yep.
Like you got Cyberlip, and you've got like any number of those
Ninja-
Neo
Ninja
Geo
Combat.
games. Yeah.
Ninja Combat was freaking awesome.
Man.
Yeah, Ninja Combat, yeah.
Yeah,
Man, 90s is hard, man.
It's really hard.
Have you picked
I-
yours,
so-
Dan?
Here, the one that I would pick would be Kirby, because it was the start of that season, and the start of that series of games. So I played, what was it, Dream World? Or Dreamland? I think it was Dreamland was the first one.
Yeah.
And yes,
Fuck,
seen
man.
that
I
pink
just
little
found out
plump.
that Smash Brothers was by that guy that made Kirby. Like, it's actually
Oh, yeah, Jack Kirby or whatever his name is.
no. Miyazaki or some shit, or I don't know what his name is. Something weird like that. But
Dude, Jack Kirby was the lawyer who negotiated on behalf of Nintendo.
Yeah, and they named the game after him. I thought I thought that's what you were talking about for some reason.
But
Sakurai.
Oh yeah, Sakura. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
He's the Kirby creator, but he also does Smash Brothers.
Mm-hmm.
Honorable mention
sorry,
would
that's
be
it.
Super Metroid, because I played that back and forth sideways about 150,000 times.
Yeah. Man, I don't want to keep on picking Mario games, but I can't help it. Like Super Mario World was like, I got it with my Super Nintendo, and that's the only game I had for months. But like I didn't even care. I just kept on playing it because it was so goddamn good.
What was the Simpsons game that came out for the SNES? Isn't that a platformer?
Which one was it? There was a bunch that came out. Like Bart versus the Space Mutants came out on NES. There was a really shitty Krusty the Clown game that came out on Super Nintendo. I can't even remember what the hell the game was called, but it sucked so bad. I remember renting it and like taking it back within like an hour or two because it was like, what the fuck, this game sucks. And it was like, back then, even like a $4 or $5 rental was a lot of money. So it was like, Mom, can we return this game? I wanted something else.
I want Bone Storm.
Yeah, I want Bone Storm. I want Mortal Kombat 2.
So you picked Mario World because that's what I was gonna pick. So if you're gonna pick that, I'll pick Conker. Conker's Bad Fur Day because I love that game. I played the shit out of
Yeah,
it.
he did.
Yeah.
You were the only person I knew that owned that game.
It was a blast. It was really fun.
The shit
It
monster
was so
was always
bizarre
funny.
seeing something like that on Nintendo.
Well, even right off the bat, he's like taking a whiz on
puking.
like. Oh yeah, he's
He's hungover.
puking because he was hungover, and then he starts like whizzing on a gravestone or something. I'm like, Jesus Christ, this is insane.
Now, for some reason, I thought that came out in the early 2000s, but maybe it was the 90s.
It was. We were still living in that house together, so that was the 90s, wasn't it? 99.
Yeah, 99. Just made the cut. Have we all picked something? I think Richard was like, Sonic, next.
Yeah, you know what? I got a hard one just because, I mean, there's a lot. I mean, like, I remember playing a lot of Commander Keen on a friend of mine's PC.
Yeah.
And that was just one of those games. And there was another one, too, Blackthorn, that I really enjoyed playing as well. And that was like PC and Super Nintendo. 90s. Yeah, Castlevania Symphony of the Night. I knew a buddy of mine, he like played that inside out backwards. He basically made that game just bend to his will. You know what, I've always been a big Mega Man fan, like right from the very get-go. The X series was in my mind like the penultimate way of presenting that game with all the little upgrades and crap like that you got. Earthworm Jim, like another really good one. Bonk's Adventure. I know this is silly, but like I have just like wet dreams of that game. Like remember seeing it on the first TurboGrafx 16 system that I'd ever seen, or PC Engine if you want to get specific with it, and I just had like boners for the 90s for Bonk's Adventures. Like it was just that system that I always wanted but never could get my hands on.
That was another one that I had a buddy, like John's whole Virtual Boy story. I had one buddy who had, like, he invested everything into his TurboGrafx 16. That's all he had. But he had every goddamn game for it, like taking it to the hoop. He had, like, Splatterhouse, Bonk, Keith Kurz, and the Alpha Zones, like everything. There was a lot of good games for that system, though. The TurboGrafx had, like, some really good stuff.
Well, and of course, the handheld was so underappreciated because you could take the console games, and just pop it into the handheld.
It was basically the Switch. It was basically the Switch, but in the 90s.
Yeah, honestly, so underappreciated technology.
Oh, Bloody Wolf, Legendary Axe. Oh my god, I could go on. There's so many good games for that system.
Yeah.
Shit, now I want to go play TurboGrafx. I was dying and waiting for the TurboGrafx Mini to come out. And then it got severely limited, and it goes for a fortune now online. And for some weird reason, Konami was the company that was releasing it. So
That's
Konami
incredible.
doesn't know what the hell they're doing anymore. So they're like, oh, we'll release it in Japan, where it wasn't even called the TurboGrafx 16, and then we won't release it anywhere else. I'm like, what the fuck? I want it. Give it to me. Because it came with two TurboGrafx 16 controllers, which ironically the system didn't come with, and you couldn't even use two controllers without buying the multi-tap for it. It
Oh, that's right. It only had the one
had
adapter.
one controller port in the system. It's so stupid. Yeah.
Moving on to 2000. This was the
The
one
aughts,
year
the
where
aughts.
I'm like, this is the one year where not a whole lot of platformers were created.
Yeah, this was a weird time. It was like
I
everything
think
was
FPS was really popular. Call
yeah,
of
everything
Duty
was a
and shit,
Call of
right?
Duty. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Need for Speed Underground, like racing games, were really popular.
Diablo 2.
Not the best time for platformers.
Yeah, no, it wasn't. I'm trying to think. Like even. Oh, you know what? This is an easy one for me. It's Psychonauts. That was such a fun game.
I never played it.
Oh
I
my
heard
God.
everybody talk so many good things about it, but never got around.
It took the whole platforming thing. Like it was still really, really centered around platforming. But the story and humor and the writing in the game was so top notch and like legitimately funny and really subtle too. It wasn't like interface 90s hardcore like power to the player kind of shit. It was actually really, really subtle and funny, and the characters were great. It was just a good game all around.
Whoever put Alice in Wonderland or American McGee, dude, that was such a great game.
I put that. Yeah, that was so good.
That
The
was
soundtrack
good.
alone
It was
was just
good.
awesome.
such a great game.
So good. Yeah, the guy from Nine Inch Nails did the soundtrack, like one of the band members. So obviously I had to get into that.
Damn, I'm almost like tempted to have like a little honorable mention for Jack and Daxter, because that was like, I think it wasn't a launch title for PS2, but it came out relatively early, I think. And it was like,
I remember playing, like, there was a couple of them, weren't there?
oh, there's a bunch. There was 3 main games, and then there was a racing game as well.
Oh, right. Yeah.
I never
There's
played
one
the
on-
racing game, but I played all 3 of the actual platformers. They were really, really good. And actually, shit, I played the one on PSP as well. They
Yeah, I
came
was
out
gonna
with
say
they came out with a Daxter. I think it was just Daxter, right? On PSP.
Oh, yeah, Daxter.
Yes.
Yeah. Because
Like
they
the
dropped
robot?
Jack. Yeah.
Or not the robot,
Best
the little
Judge.
it was like a fucking prairie dog or whatever the hell it. It was basically like Ratchet and Clank, like Jack and Daxter, Ratchet and Clank. Daxter, like the sidekick, was a little guy. Yeah, it was like a prairie dog. I think that's what Daxter was. Wasn't he? I don't
I
know.
have no idea.
I can't
don't know
remember.
what-
He looked like
I
a
don't
prairie.
know.
He looks like a goddamn prairie dog. I don't know.
Sure, let's go with that. I think my mic wasn't working when I just kept yelling Galaxy, 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 but I guess Galaxy wasn't. Oh, Galaxy was the 10s. Oh, okay, all right.
Oh no, shit! I'm an idiot.
Yeah, I was like, I'm pretty sure Super Mario Galaxy was.
Yeah, I'm
2000s,
pretty
but-
sure it was in the 2000s. So yeah, so
I'm
Galaxy is my choice.
Yeah, no,
Right.
seriously. Yeah. What the hell was I? Oh my god, what the hell is Mario game came out on a Switch? Why am I going blind? What's the matter with me?
On the Wii, you mean? Which?
No, on the Switch. What's the Mario game on the Switch called?
Odyssey?
Odyssey. God damn it. I'm just gonna go away for a few minutes
Okay, cool,
and
great.
hurt myself.
So anyway, I choose Galaxy. In the 2000s.
Wow. Yes. No. Yes.
Psychonauts was a great choice too. Again, my mic was off, and I was like, "Yeah, Psychonauts! Can't wait for Psychonauts 2!" And nobody heard
Oh
me.
shit.
So anyway, I'll just bandwagon on the enthusiasm there. That was a great game.
Oh, Galaxy
And
was
it-
insane, man. Galaxy was so good.
Did any of you play Beautiful Joe?
Yes,
I
did.
played Beautiful Joe.
Beautiful Joe? Yeah.
I liked
that's
it,
right.
but I sucked at it really bad.
Yeah.
It was hard as fuck, dude. It was. I remember that being like
Dreamcast,
one of the
right?
first. It was GameCube.
Yeah,
I
GameCube.
But it
remember that
came out
being.
on.
It did come out on other systems, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, eventually, but it was like GameCube only for a while. But I
think
remember
I
that
played it
being
on
like one of the. I remember that being one of like the first like quote unquote like hardcore games, like really really difficult.
Yeah.
Like a Dark Souls type difficult like game where it was like,
Yeah.
yeah, you can have fun playing it, but you're gonna get your fucking ass kicked. It's hard.
Again, like Wikipedia, for whatever this is worth, classifies it as a side-scrolling beat 'em up,
You know what?
which I actually kind of agree with more than a
that as
platformer.
well. I'd agree with that as well.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Damn
Next
it!
name from the list then.
No, I would totally classify that as a beat 'em up because it is. It's like the whole reason. Think about it this way,
Yeah.
right? The reason to play the game is to beat the shit out of people in a cool, stylish way and like get
Yeah.
points. It's not to progress through a level and get to the end.
Great game.
It's
Don't
a
get me
fucking
wrong,
awesome. It's an awesome
really good
game.
game.
Yeah.
It was like a
It's
toss up. I'm like,
platformer.
it's kind of a platformer, but kind of a brawler. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
What we should do next week is side-scrolling beat 'em ups, and then we'll just talk about all the same games again.
Well, the winner's final fight,
Jesus.
so you don't even
Yes.
have to bother. Actually, no,
Final
it's Streets of
Fight
Rage 2. Sorry.
or like
Streets of Rage
Magic
2.
Sword. Magic Sword is pretty good as a beat 'em up.
Honestly, I on my main system upstairs, I've got like a whole folder just dedicated to like side scrolling, everything from like Knights of the Realm to all the Dungeons
Ugh.
and Dragons. Like it is absolutely ludicrous the amount of weird port games that you get
Oh,
that
there's tons.
I've seen once and never seen ever again, and I'll see it, I'll be like, oh my god, this is so good. In the 2000, I don't think I ever played any platformer in 2000. 2000s for me were catching up on Hot Shots Golf,
Nice.
like Forza, not Forza. What was
Gran
for the
Turismo?
PlayStation? Thank you.
Hot
Gran
Shots
Turismo.
Golf was great.
Still is.
And you know what? The Mario Golf.
Oh,
I saw the Mario Golf trailer, and I was just like, "That's like Hot Shots
It's gonna be so good. Super Rush. or
redone
whatever
with
it's called.
like Mario characters." That's all
Okay.
it is.
So basically, what you're saying is in the 2000s, you were just high all the time because those were the games that I played. most of the
bingo.
time. Okay, great. Yeah.
Those are your words,
Shots
not
Golf.
mine.
Personified. Yeah.
And the worms. Okay, so
Worms?
interesting.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Worms. I don't know if I would classify
not
that
a
as
platformer.
a platformer.
It's like a
but-
turn-based strategy game almost. It's not
Well,
even.
It was not a platformer.
No,
Nothing to
that's
do with
that's
that.
almost as far away from a platformer as
Yeah.
you can get.
It had platforms. that
Yeah,
you could, like,
yeah.
the shit out of them, but
Yeah,
it had
yeah.
nothing to do with platform. I mean, you had to
Yeah.
jump to them, but I don't think calling it a platform game is very.
I think there were just far too many other games out there that I was
That's like
really
Calling
into.
Lemmings a platformer.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Actually, no, you're right. You're right because the lemmings jump on things. It's
They
like
do.
yes, but
Well,
you're predetermined movements. That's like worms.
Lemmings is a god
Yeah.
game, god simulator.
There you go.
Yeah,
It's
Yeah,
more of a
yeah.
puzzle God Simulator. Yeah.
yeah. I don't know if I could really say any sort of platformer. All the ones you've listed, I don't think I've ever played any of them, and really, I had a PlayStation, and that was about all I had in the 2000s. So,
You should play Psychonauts. I feel like that game
Dude,
holds
Psychonauts
up well.
is so fucking good.
Yeah.
I think
It's
it
so
holds
good.
up well. It's quick. It's easy to play through. There's a sequel coming out that you'd probably also enjoy. The humor, I think. I
It still
recently
holds up.
replayed
It
it.
still holds
yeah,
up.
it still holds. I
What's-
recently replayed it like 5 years ago or whatever.
Yeah.
But I think that would be one to revisit. That's a
Just,
worthwhile.
I'll definitely take a look for it.
Once you
Yeah.
get to the last level, just turn off the system though.
Turn off the
Don't
back,
actually
yeah.
don't bother.
That-
pl-
that's
playing
Just
my-
multiplayer.
Google,
get that
Google,
far.
yeah, the
It's
ending. And,
it's literally the only time I've ever thrown a controller was the last level in Psychonauts. It's
Really
one of the most frustrating
Forget this.
things I've ever done in my entire life.
yeah.
Right,
It's,
I'm at a toss up between like Super Mario Galaxy and Super Mario Sunshine for the GameCube during 2000s because they're both like Super Mario Sunshine was the first time that they've deviated from their script of what Mario games were. Yeah, I don't know.
Hello.
I'm divided.
You just went dead silent there for a second. Yeah, fair enough. I think 2000s time is Will o' the Wisps. No, it was Blind Forest, right? Will o' the Wisps was last year, wasn't it?
We're talking about 2010s now, or
Yeah, 2010s.
2010s. Oh my god.
Right?
Already.
When was it? Was Ori and the Blind Forest is the first one.
yes, that's right, and that was the 2010s.
That was the 2010s, right? Okay. So I'm just gonna change that.
Oh wait, 2010s for Blind Forest?
Yeah, it came out in 2016,
2019?
2017.
Oh, right.
2015.
2015, yeah.
Yeah. So when was Will of the Wisps? That was last year, I think, right?
Yeah.
2020. Yeah. Will of the Wisps. Yeah.
What should we talking about?
We're talking about the 2010s, and
Yeah.
I don't know that.
2010s, baby.
Celeste
this
is
was
a great one that I've never played. I've heard really good things about Celeste.
It's supposed to be very relaxing.
No, not at all.
Nope. The opposite of that. Yeah, I've played Super Meat Boy.
It's like, oh, you were
Have not
joking.
finished
Okay.
it. Yeah. I think of this list, it's probably Mario Maker for me, to be honest. Like, that was just transcendent of, like, you like a Mario? You make Mario. It's like, oh, yes, I would like make Mario. Thank you.
I would like make Mario.
Very much like make
You
Mario.
fail English?
That's impossible. Yeah, it had a zeitgeist around it. It was just everything I wanted out of one of those tools. The sharing of the levels was the way you had to do it was terrible because Nintendo sucks at online. But they fixed it in Mario Maker 2 at least, more or less. But it still fulfilled like a lot of game design fantasies from 80s kids. And it was just a ton of fun. It was a real ton of fun.
I just wish I had a single creative bone in my body because I would have got a lot out of that game. Like when it got announced, I was like, "Are you kidding me? That's so fucking cool!" And then as soon as it came out, I was like, I don't know how to do anything like this. I'm terrible at it. That being said, I did like playing other people's like levels, but you had to really, really sift through the shit to find the good stuff.
Yeah.
Which was why I actually really liked Mario Maker 2 so much, was because Nintendo kind of learned from that, and they made a bunch of their own levels. Like Nintendo themselves, like devs from Nintendo, made a bunch of levels in Mario Maker 2.
Yes.
So those were awesome. Like a lot of those were actually quite good. So.
Yeah. Yes. It were. It definitely got better with Mario Maker 2, although I played way less of Mario Maker 2 because reasons, I guess. But the curation, the tagging, everything, it just was not great in the first one. But the concept was just incredible at the time.
Oh yeah.
Never played Shovel Knight.
Oh my god, Shovel Knight was so good. So good.
Yeah, you know what? I've heard that too, and I never got around to it. There was another one that. Oh shoot, the name's going to escape me now. Cuphead was a really good one.
Cuphead's Cuphead's like a definitive platforming game.
Yeah.
But yeah, Shovel Knight though, oh my god, So just to explain how good Shovel Knight is, like, do you remember how good DuckTales was?
Yep.
It's as good as DuckTales. And the gameplay is very similar to DuckTales. I know that sounds weird, but it is.
Because you can bounce?
Yeah, you bounce on your shovel. You bounce on your shovel. Like, it's literally like...
If you were going to say it was as good as Rescue Rangers, I would have been like, I'm all over it. But you said DuckTales, and that's just crap.
You're Scrooge McDuck. You get to bounce on your cane, collect gold coins along the way. It's so great, man.
It's as good as DuckTales and Rescue Rangers combined.
I'm taking Spelunky. Forgot about Spelunky.
Oh, nice. That's a good one.
Yeah, it was a really good one. I had a PS Vita, and the two games I played the most on the Vita, I want to say, now I might be mixing up if it was the PSP or Vita, Lumines. Might have been the PSP. Anyway, Spelunky was like number one on the Vita for me. It was the thing I played the most, just sitting on my couch. Phenomenal, and still haven't touched Spelunky 2, which I really should get to. But yeah, I'm gonna throw my hat in the ring for hard games that I'm not usually like, oh, hard games, I love hard games. Not a fan of hard games, generally speaking. Spelunky was like way up there on my list of, and Super Meat Boy, but mostly Spelunky. Hard games that really clicked.
You know, it's really funny you say you don't like hard games. I don't know what the general consensus is, but any game that comes with a difficulty setting, I'm always play it on hard. I'm beyond the normal level now when it comes to playing games. Like, I just find that I get more satisfaction out of a more in-depth challenge. Digressing a little bit, though.
No, I mean, everybody wants something different out of their games, right? Like,
Yeah.
I often enjoy mechanics over anything else, like mechanics or story. So if there's difficulty that gets in the way of enjoying the mechanics of what the thing is that they developed, like that was the case kind of with Spelunky, but it had the roguelike type elements to it that allowed me to progress and kind of keep feeling like I was making progress. So I stuck with it. Same thing with Hades, right? Like I told Dan, like I just turned on God mode after 27 runs or whatever. I was just couldn't get to the final boss. But I got to the final boss, couldn't beat him multiple times. I was just like, all right, now I want to see the story. I want to see the rest of the mechanics.
Yeah,
like,
you've put in your dues.
What this game is. Yeah, that's it. I've put in my dues. I think that was a really good way to go about. This is not a platformer at all, so take this with a grain of salt. But really good way to kind of marry or bridge the gap between people who want that challenge and people who want to experience your game, but are old and dumb like me.
So Spelunky or like Steam World Dig, because they're kind of the same.
Dig's a good one too.
They're both released in the 2010s. They're both kind of the same vein. I'm like, still Spelunky?
Spelunky. Oh, for me?
Yeah. No.
Oh yeah, me it's Spelunky still. Steam World Dig was good. I played more of the heist one than the Dig one, but.
Gotcha.
Which is not at all a platformer, but yeah, Spelunky was huge for me.
Shit, man,
I played Ori. I played Ori late. I played Ori just as like Will of the Wisp was coming out, so I think I played Ori just before Will of the Wisps. So I wouldn't necessarily classify that as a 2010s game for me.
Well, and I fall into that category too. Like, I'm just picking it up now. Like, I had it downloaded for years, and I just never got around to playing it. There was always something else that I wanted to play, and and it's really funny because if you look kind of at what the trend is right now, you've got like Owlboy, you've got all in the kind of same vein of the art style that you get out of Metal Slug, like super detailed levels, super everything is like crazily animated, like they went above and beyond just over animating like everything. And then you get games like Hollow Knight and other titles that I think I played like maybe once or twice, and I was just like, this is so good, and I just never got around back to it.
Yeah.
And it's a real shame that pixel based games are coming back again, which is really kind of an interesting it's like fashion. What's old is new again, right? Yeah. And art style in that kind of vein of things is good. I mean, like a Naruto Boy, and there's a Katana. Shoot, I can't remember what the hell it is, but it's like all these really
Katana Zero.
super.
Katana Zero.
Yeah.
Which was amazing, so good.
Ridiculously fast-paced, pixel-based games that are so ridiculously forgivable that they trade off certain design elements for just mantic, fast-paced gameplay, right? More games like there was one that Mike had put me on years and years ago. It was kind of a cyberpunkish Blade Runner side scroller. I'm gonna have to dig up the name of it, but I don't think it ever got released. and it was like just dark and moody, but like pixelated, but like just super atmospheric.
Oh, The Last Night. That hasn't come out yet.
Oh yeah, that's been in development for like a decade now. It almost feels like.
Yeah.
Last Night, like NIGHT.
Yep. It's a really cool looking game.
Oh,
Let's
you
check it out.
check
Oh,
out the
that's
videos.
the detective. Isn't that like the
Yeah,
detective
yeah,
game?
yeah.
Yeah, I hope it gets released one day.
Jesus, that's still not out.
Yeah,
No.
development hell for sure.
Oh my God, Lauren did the music for it.
Definitely got to do that Katana Zero. That thing looks fantastic.
Planned release date.
Honestly, it's so good. And honestly, the replayable factor on it is so great because of the way that if you die, it's like you just rewind, right? It's kind of like, nope, that method doesn't work.
It's kind of like my friend Pedro.
Oh,
Where
that was
it's-
such a
yeah.
good game.
When you're flipping around and you're shooting bullets in
Yeah.
every other direction, there's like, oh, that method works, or oh no, I got destroyed. I should probably not do that again.
Respawn and it's instant. It's like, yep, there we go.
Yep, there you go.
I gotta say, for the 2010s, for me, it's gotta be Fez. That game was so goddamn
Fez was
good.
super good.
Fez,
I just
yeah.
added that to the list. Yeah, that game was great.
Like, say whatever you will about Phil Fish, but like,
Yeah.
that game, man, like I was pumped for that for so long because it was in development forever because it was just him
Yeah.
making it basically. So
You know, funny story. It's funny that you talk about say what you want about Phil Fish, but I think he was a victim of the indie game scene at that time, right? Like, yeah, he didn't help himself, but at the same time, the whole indie game scene kind of felt like it kind of teamed up against him a little bit, right? Like he got a little.
he was. It wasn't like him asking for it. It was just he just spoke his mind maybe a bit too much, but like
Yeah.
like especially in that like the indie game, the movie and stuff. It's like you get a really good look at like all those guys that got into it early on, right? Like the guy that did Braid and Super Meat Boy and Fez, and I think there was one or two others, but like, yeah, Phil, they had to have a bad guy to make the movie interesting, and it was like, oh, this Phil Fish guy, he just says whatever the hell he wants. I'm like, let's make him the bad guy. I'm like, eh.
Dude, he made Super Hypercube.
Yep.
That's cool.
But you're right. They did kind of paint him in an interesting portrait.
He hasn't done anything since.
No, like
Put some negative connotation to his character, which is like, yeah, after getting in the legal battle with his partner at the time.
yeah.
Yeah. Like,
Oh, he canceled Fez 2. Fez 2 is canceled. I am done. I take the money and I run. This
Dude,
is as
he's-
much as I can stomach. This isn't the result of any one thing, but the end of a long, bloody campaign. You win.
Pretty
Yeah.
dramatic.
Yeah, very dramatic.
and that is exactly why people love painting him as
Yeah, the bad
the
guy.
bad boy or
Yeah.
whatever the hell they want to say.
How is he
But,
not
like,
a teenager?
He
Like,
must have
something
made
like
a
that.
goddamn fortune from that game, though, because it's been released on every goddamn platform. It's still getting released, and it's sold
but the guy who
millions
made
of
Flappy-
copies.
But the guy who made Flappy Birds, I'm sure, made more money.
made a lot of
Fuck
money,
him!
dude.
Fuck him!
Flappy Bird. This game's for babies.
This game's fucked.
I hate people like that. Like, honestly, you can't go.
Actually, I don't hate him at all. I don't hate that guy at all. He's a genius.
You
That
go.
was Phil
like,
Fish that said that about him, I think.
Oh, the
Right, is that
Flappy
what you're
Bird.
referring to? Yeah.
So before we go to the next decade, I want to choose Ori because I gotta choose Ori, man. This is
Sure.
Well, yeah,
So good.
fuck, of course.
I didn't choose it, did I? No, I don't think it did. Dead Cells.
Ooh, Dead Cells.
Yeah, you played the crap out of it, didn't you?
Yeah. So
I
much.
remember
I
I
guess-
remember you chatting about that a lot.
Hyper Light Drifter doesn't really classify as a platformer, I guess.
Did you pick anything for the tens, Nick?
Yeah, for the tens, yeah, it was like Ori, and I've forgotten now. I'd have to go back to the list. I had it.
That's all right.
Oh, tens. Oh, it was like Shovel Knight. There was Hollow Knight, and I guess
No, it was
Carry
the
On
one that you
came
were
out.
massively into. There was one that you were like you couldn't pull yourself away from. Fuck, what the hell is it now?
There was a bunch.
Yeah.
I can't remember now.
Well,
Sorry,
the
that's old age.
The 2020s. All I need to say is Ori and the Will of the Wisps, because that was like one of the best games I've ever played in my entire life. So.
Correct answer.
Which is difficult because like Astro's Playroom is on there, and I fucking love that game.
But would that be a platformer though? I guess that's still in the same
Astro's
vein
Playroom?
as like a Jack of Dax. Yeah,
Oh
Jack
god,
of
yeah,
Dax
that's a massive.
yeah.
It's a huge platformer.
It's all platformer, yeah.
Yeah, the whole game. Yes, it's teaching you how to use the PS5 controller indirectly, but like, actually, no, fucking directly.
Well, so was Mario 64, right? Back in the day.
Yeah, no, you're right. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Actually, I'm surprised no one chose Mario 64. It wasn't even on the list.
Oh shit!
Oops.
Oh, I would have chosen Mario World over that any day, though.
Well, that's the thing. I would have chosen Super Mario World over that, which I did. So.
Yeah, I had more fun playing Super Mario World than I did Mario 64.
Like Mario 64 was more of a technical marvel. I was like, holy shit, this is amazing, and it's still good. But even now I would still rather play Mario World than Mario 64.
Ori's pretty damn good.
Well, 2020s are hard to pick. We're 5 months into the second year of the 20. Like, but I don't even care. Ori and the Will of the Wisps. Like, it's the best.
Yeah.
It's the best platformer I will play this decade. I guarantee you.
Because it hits you right in the feels. I love the different kind of skills and weapons that you can equip. The story's fantastic.
Dude, this story is phenomenal. It's like
super good.
Holy shit, it's so good.
And even for as quote unquote lo-fi as it is, it's still beautiful in terms of its color.
Oh god, yeah.
The music for me was what struck me the most.
The music's just mental.
The music is incredible.
Totally.
Yeah.
What, Carrion? Not environmental enough.
I don't know if Carrion counts as a platformer.
The crunching of bones. Like, I gotta wonder if they recorded somebody just like
that's true.
gnawing on like
some chicken wings.
Chicken wing.
Yeah. I'd love to be a Foley artist. Anyways, I don't know if the 2020s. The 2020s.
It is more of a horror game, isn't it?
Yeah.
If we're done with all this jazz, do you guys want to do a little quick 20 questions?
I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind a bathroom break in between. I don't know if we.
Go now. Yeah, you can just run off and do it while we're playing.
Okay, cool. All right.
So yeah, are you guys ready? I got a game for you.
Do you?
I do. Super excited.
You may begin asking questions.
Do we want to preface this by saying, have we mentioned it at all today?
You can. It's a question you can ask.
What a throwaway question.
It's a question you can ask, Nicholas.
Oh my god. All right. Well, let's just start with the standards. Hey, Daniel.
Yes.
Was this game produced before 2000?
Produced before 2000. Yes.
A little older.
Yes.
Would you call that retro? Anything before 2000?
And when you say produced, you mean developed?
Yeah. Okay. Oh, all right. Let me. Yeah. Okay. Released. Released.
Yeah. I was. Yeah.
Would you consider that retro? No. Yeah, it's 30 years ago.
Consider PlayStation 1 retro now, man.
True.
Well, if you ever ask kids, to make the symbol of a phone, it's no longer this anymore. It's now this, because you're holding a smartphone to your head. That's a sign of the times.
Terrible.
So this could be Dreamcast. This could be PlayStation 1, N64.
Inspector Gadget.
Yes.
Super Nintendo.
Do we want to isolate if it was before the 90s? Or like isolate the decade? All right, Dan.
Yeah.
Was this game produced?
Wait. Wait. Can you say before 95? Because I feel like that'll be really helpful.
Before 95.
Yeah, because if it's like
Okay.
after 95, it really narrows it down. But if it's before, then
Yeah. Okay.
the chances of it being before 90 is fucking slim to none, in my
You
opinion.
never know. He could be just tossing us
Dan's not much of an old school guy with that shit.
a boy in his blob. You know, who knows? Fester's Quest.
You got 19 questions.
Oh, I don't know, Nick. Is it a dumb idea?
You can start asking some.
Just do it. Just do it.
You can just fire them off, boys.
Honestly, last
Here,
time
I'll pull the trigger. Hey, Dan, was this released before 95?
Yes.
before 95.
Yes.
Holy shit. Hey, last time John pulled a, rabbit out of his ass.
Out of a hat.
Yeah,
that
John
was
will get it
amazing.
on the very last question.
I've done that twice now.
Bastard. You have done it twice. It's unbelievable.
Yeah,
Alright,
was this game released on a Nintendo console?
Yes.
Right.
That was easy.
It might not have been an exclusive though. Could have been.
Hey Dan, was this a first party title?
Yes.
Oh, this is
Not
way better than last
first
week.
party. This is a first party. Yeah.
Shh.
Yeah.
Quiet. Quiet, you. See? Yeah.
Hey Dan, was this released on a handheld device?
That's a good question.
Thanks. I
Yes,
try.
yes, it was.
Why? Why does he seem unsure?
I'm not unsure. That's 5
Oh, you
questions.
think he's thinking Tetris. Yeah.
All the moving
How
boxes in my head. Oh, I
Sorry,
think-
go on. Yeah.
many games were on both Game Boy and Nintendo? Because I feel like that
Well,
answer.
we haven't even nailed that down yet. Do you want to ask if it was on
Mario.
like a set-top box as well?
Dr. Mario.
Do you want to ask if it was on a set-top box as well? Because it could
Yeah.
just be a mobile.
And was this on a set-top box as well?
You mean a console that you plug into a TV?
Correct.
Yes.
Set? Hey, I'm not that old. Set-top box is fine. You know what I'm saying? God damn it.
Set top box. Jesus Christ. Yes.
I didn't want to say it. I mean, I think I'm the oldest one here, and I had no
Think
clue
you
what the
are.
hell you're talking. I thought you were
Really?
talking about like a Rogers box, because
Yeah, dude, I had the box with the
set-top
kunk, like the buttons
That's
on it. I
right.
had a
Yeah,
cable
that's
box.
Yeah.
right. That's a
That's
set-top
what I
box,
thought you
yeah.
meant.
You probably all
Yeah,
fucked
well, I
with
mean,
that.
but I mean it in console. Okay, fine. It's all right. Thanks for trying, Mike. I
Remember
appreciate
that
your
way
I
back
appreciate
in
your
the
vote of
day.
confidence in my use of set-top box.
Set top box. Jesus
03, 09, 1.
I loved those
Did it have
things, man.
two
They were
rows?
they were
40
fucking they were
yet, so I
responsive.
should not be the one defending this. This should have been a thing that you all would have taken.
I remember this one. It had 2 rows of like clickable buttons,
You
and
had
then
2
it had
rows?
a dial. 2 rows.
I had
and
one
then it
row
had
with
a
the
two-
dial. Yeah, I had one row with the
Yep.
dial.
Yeah.
Wow, you're
Hey, Dan,
you must
was
have been
this-
rich. Yes, Richard.
Babe,
Richard's actually trying to
Dan,
ask a
Dan,
question.
was this part of a series?
Shut up. Nobody cares.
You do. This is literally the only thing you care about, Nick. Yes,
Oh.
part of a series.
Not-
Yes.
Not Tetris then? Was Tetris a series? Like,
Hey Dan, was this the first in a series?
First in a series? Yes.
Okay.
Do we want to iron out what generation of console this was?
Yeah.
All we just know is it was before 95.
Is
When
my,
did
is
you
my
mean,
like-
typing super loud when I type? Is it like, holy shit, take it easy
No,
or
it's fine.
clickety clackety? Alright, good.
No, that's just my.
Uh, 90, 92 Game Boy Advance? I
no,
want
it's
to say.
2001.
2001. Damn. Game Boy Color then. When was Game Boy Color?
Yeah, it could be Game Boy Color. It's like that
That's a
generation.
good question.
Before 95?
Before 95.
Because like Kirby's Dream Land came out in 92 off for Game Boy.
I mean, we're at question 9. We could just ask. With like a
there's
further
also-
clarifying year, like before 90? What's a good year to clarify against?
Well, I mean, really, if it's Nintendo, right, and before '95, you've got NES, you got Super NES, and then you've got, what is it, Game Boy, Game Boy Advance, whatever the other handheld variations were, Game Boy Color. When was the first year for DS?
This is before '95, so
Yeah.
it's definitely Game Boy or Game Boy Color, not Game Boy Advance.
But it was released on a set-top box, so I mean, on a large device. We just don't know if it was like Super Nintendo or if it was like just.
Yeah, that's more what I'm thinking about, right?
All right, hey Dan, was this released on a Super Nintendo?
Yep.
All right.
There you go.
So it could be Animaniacs.
Be Animaniacs, maybe. Sure.
Yeah, it could be.
Animaniacs.
I mean, today was all about platformers, so are you going to think that maybe he's tossing us a side ball, or a curveball, rather, and it's not going to be a platform?
It's very possible. Oh, it's a series, right? We got to keep that in mind.
And first in a series.
Excuse me.
Was that a question, Nick?
No. I'm not sure how you'd answer that, to be honest with you, even if it was.
Gesundheit.
Oh,
that's
yeah.
question 10.
We already know it's first party. Like, it's first party Nintendo, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that could be like Konami, and cause I think Konami at
That's
that
not
point
first party.
produced.
Konami wouldn't be first party, right? It'd have to be developed by Nintendo. So this is like
no, you good point.
probably a Mario game? Or a Donkey Kong?
No, it couldn't be Donkey Kong because Donkey Kong is
Donkey Kong Country came out on Game Boy and Super
Donkey
Nintendo.
Kong Country. Yeah, that's right. Can't be a Mega Man. Can't be Castlevania. Can't be any of the other ones. Couldn't be Metroid.
Could be like Mario Kart. I'm just trying to remember if Mario Kart
Is
came
that
out
on
on.
a Game Boy? Was there a Game Boy Mario Kart?
I don't remember if it did or didn't.
I feel like there wasn't. I feel like I'd know that.
No, there wasn't.
There's Game Boy Advance Mario Kart.
We could get into genre, like a
Can't do
puzzle
Move 7
game,
on a Game Boy, man.
platformer. We could ask if it's a platformer. Make life easier.
Good.
Yeah.
Hey, Dan,
Yo.
was this a platformer?
Nope.
Yeah, didn't think so.
Not Donkey Kong Country.
Puzzle game would be the other one. I guess it was big back then.
Well, I hope Dan knows that Tetris isn't a first-party game. It's like a Russian.
Don't
Yeah.
worry about me, Michael.
I remember playing Tetris on my dad's old laptop, and it was like a monochrome green.
Yeah, me too. You could change the theme, if I remember correctly. You could change it from like monochrome to color to something else.
Oh,
on
yeah.
PC.
This one was strictly
It's
like
straight?
green.
Okay.
Yeah, it was awful. Actually, it wasn't green. Now that I'm thinking about it, it was like an amber color.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Fancy.
I'm gonna have to. And I remember playing some Olympic game on it too, where I had to tap like two keys in order to do the
Track and
long
field?
run thing. Yeah, track and field. Yeah.
Hey Dan,
California
Yo!
Games? Should have been the
No.
Olympic one? No.
Not
Hacky Sacky?
I'm curious if this is a puzzle game because Dr. Mario did come out on Game Boy and it did.
Yeah, I mean, puzzle would be the other big one. to
Puzzle
ask.
game? No.
Okay, well.
No,
yeah.
puzzle game.
I guess apparently we used a question on that, so there it is. So not a puzzle game, okay.
Tis not.
Well, what games did Nintendo make that weren't puzzle or platformer games? Before 95, would Pokemon's not a first party game, right? First party published. Right? But not
Well,
first party
and
developed?
it couldn't be a Kirby because Kirby is a platformer.
Yeah. We just established that previously.
I think. Well, there would have been. I don't think Zelda came out for Game Boy. Oh no, it did.
There's Link's Awakening for Game Boy.
Yeah.
Link's Awakening for Game Boy?
Yeah, but you know what though? Here's the thing: if we're
That was
talking
original system, wasn't it?
But Zelda, A Legend of Zelda, right, is part of a series, and it's not the first one, right? So A
Correct.
Legend of Zelda
Correct.
still originated on the
Well,
on
that's
the
true. So this
Nintendo.
was the first in the series and on Super Nintendo.
Yeah,
So
that's-
it
if it was
And
any
the first party game. You know what? We probably have everything we need to figure this shit out.
so
You know, but you got games like F-Zero, right, or Star Fox.
yeah, Star Fox was what I was
Fox.
thinking.
So hey Dan, do you, let's just qualify this one. Are you let me phrase this properly. Do you use a vehicle to race in?
No.
Okay.
It's
I
good.
feel like the Game Boy version of this is a really shitty port, probably. Like it must be some shitty version of the SNES.
Or it released later on a different handheld. It doesn't have to be Game Boy. Like, we didn't ask Game Boy specifically. It could have come out later on DS or later on
Oh fuck!
Switch or any of that shit, right?
Why
Like,
it's been tripping me up, man.
yeah, don't think that it released simultaneously unless we specifically ask Game Boy.
I would just disqualify it. Just ask the question. We got time.
Hey Dan, did this release on a Game Boy?
Yes.
Yeah, shit.
The fucking original Game Boy? That's the thing that's been tripping me up, man.
Yeah, that is
Gotta be a
tricky.
shitty
Man.
version of whatever the Super Nintendo game was. The Super Nintendo one's probably the coup de grace, like the fucking the main course, and the Game Boy one's just a really shitty. Like
Where's-
Game Boy can't do anything that the Super Nintendo can do.
Yeah. That threw a wrench in things. I thought I had you, Dan.
Oh, why I oughta.
Smart.
Were there any like, education-based games that came out for Super Nintendo and Game Boy, maybe? Something that wasn't too graphically intensive?
Dragon Quest.
Well, it could be like Bomberman.
Do you think it originally?
That would be a puzzle game to me. Is that not a puzzle game? What does that feel like to you? That feels like a puzzle game to me.
Do you guys think that it came out on Game Boy first, and then they made a better version for Super Nintendo, possibly?
Bomberman? No, it would have been. The other
That would have been Super Bomberman. Wasn't there a Super Bomberman?
There was a Super
Yeah,
Bomberman.
Super
But that
Bomberman.
wouldn't have been the first in the series then.
First in the series was on NES.
Yeah.
But they had, if I remember correct, Game Boy Color had the Pocket Bomberman.
Yeah. Hey Dan, do you play as a human in this game?
Play as a human?
Yeah.
You can.
You can.
You can.
Interesting. Like I'm looking at like Super Mario All Stars as well, right? I mean that would be a brawler, right? But would it have ever come out on a handheld? I don't think it did.
No, I don't think that came out on a handheld. You can play as a human.
Did they come out? Oh fuck! I was about to say Street Fighter 2, when that's the second in the series. So
Yeah.
I think there was a shitty Street Fighter for Game Boy, possibly.
That's not first party though, right? That's
No.
Yeah, it's
You
Capcom.
can tell
stuff.
how
Capcom,
little I have a grasp on this.
I this is not my era.
SimCity? No, definitely not.
Yeah.
I remember SimCity 2000 on.
But SimCity would have been Maxis. That wouldn't have been
Yeah, Mario
party either.
Paint. Mario Paint.
Mario Paint.
I don't know if that was for Game Boy, man.
Yeah, I don't know.
It was all about that mouse that they released, right? And I don't think they ever made another Mario.
Are
Paint.
we?
What question are we up to?
You still got
15.
5 questions and a guess.
Yeah.
Boy.
Do you guys know if Paperboy was a first-party game?
Paperboy?
Yeah, was that a first, like a Nintendo game? Is that where it came from?
Was there a Paperboy 2? I think it was a first party game.
Yeah, there was other Paperboys.
There were other
But
Paperboys.
it released Paperboy was a It was an arcade game before it was ever a console game.
Was it Nintendo though?
I feel like I should know this, but I'm gonna have to Google it.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Oh, oh, ooh,
No, Paperboy is an Atari game.
ooh. No. So, shit. The re-release of Game & Watch was recent, right? So, Mr. Game & Watch was
Interesting.
Is like, when did that come? When was that released?
The first one, like the original.
I don't remember.
It was on Super Nintendo, pretty sure.
Is it a platformer though?
Yeah.
So I'm assuming that's disqualified then because we have platformers. No.
Yeah.
I think the genre would be pretty helpful right about now.
Do we want to even ask like if the game was well received, like or is it kind of beyond that scope? I mean, we're on 16 now, right?
It's part of a series, first party developed. Like it's probably was pretty well received at the time.
Yeah, I guess we can make that. Safe
But the
assumption.
genre is not terrible. The challenge with always narrowing down the genre at this phase is like there are a lot of genres. Although we did already ask platformer and puzzle. If you've got another one that Nintendo kind of focused on at that time, we should absolutely ask it.
I was wondering if it's adventure or RPG.
Okay. Yeah. We can do both of those.
Oh wait, let's think of an RPG. That was first party. I don't know. Nintendo
When
doesn't
did
really
Mario RPG come out?
adventure though. Adventure, they do Zelda and shit, right? So
Zelda, yeah.
Oh no, there's also Final Fantasy.
that's not
I don't think-
first party though, right?
Correct. Son of a.
Mario RPG was 96. So not that. I think it's still okay to ask adventure game.
Yeah, Dan, is this an adventure game?
No.
Okay.
That's 15.
It's gonna be some stupid sport game.
Yeah. Oh,
Oh
sports.
fuck, you think?
Should we just ask sports? But first party developed.
Well,
Mario
Nintendo-
Golf?
Yeah.
Uh,
Okay.
Tennis. There's also tennis.
Mario Tennis came out for Super Nintendo?
I don't know about.
Hey Dan, is this a sports game?
No.
There you go.
Jesus.
Nip
Is this
that one in the
fucking
butt.
game? Like, would
Is
Heather Ann
this a
Campbell-
game? Yes.
Heather Ann
That's
Campbell
another
not
question.
consider this a game? I'm not actually asking that. But she hates fucking games that aren't games.
Don't mind my
You know,
typing
Super
over here.
Nintendo used a lot of peripherals, like there was the Super Scope and stuff
Ah.
like that. But it also came out on a handheld, so I guess that wouldn't. Oh boy.
It's the handheld thing that's fucking this whole thing up.
Dan, is this a simulator?
No.
Well, then what the heck?
Like, what genres are left?
Do you give up?
You think it's a fighting game? Like, did
Did
Nintendo?
we ask for RPG?
But,
hey,
but
hey Dan, just hang on a second. Hey Dan, is this an RPG?
RPG? No.
Oh well, then I don't know what the fuck this is.
fuck, what's left?
Yeah, like, so that eliminates it. What?
Hey, Dan.
F1,
Oh,
Dr. Mario.
All right, I'm gonna burn this one. Dan, have we mentioned this game at all?
No.
Fuck.
Is it-
Oh, so
there you go.
you have you have a guess now. That's it.
You guys think of any fighting games that Nintendo made back then, or like beat 'em ups?
That were first parties? Definitely not. Definitely.
Oh,
not.
Clash.
Oh fuck! Do you guys think it was that game where you're the ape and the lizard?
Oh, Rampage?
No idea.
Was
what
that a
that
first
is.
party game?
No.
Rampage came out in the arcades, and that was by a different
Oh,
company.
and you
That
can't play
was-
as a human. Fuck.
There
What's the game
is
You can play as a human or not.
Harvest Moon is one of those.
Party.
Nothing.
Yeah,
Play as
but
an animal?
would
Harvest's
Harvest
not
Moon,
first party.
and that would be an RPG, wouldn't it be?
It would be a simulator or an RPG, like a farming sim or. an RPG.
Yeah, I'm stumped.
What is Battle Clash? Anyone played Battle Clash?
That was a Super Scope game, wasn't it?
So that's Super Nintendo here, but it doesn't say Game Boy.
Got to be Faceball.
Wah, wah.
Faceball.
Faceball for sure.
Guys, what do you think?
I think we're just gonna have to guess. John, you're our resident super guesser. So,
Come on, John, you can do it.
yep.
If we get the third time's a charm, is the Balloon Kid Dan?
Is it what?
Is the Balloon Kid Dan?
No, the game's not Balloon Kid.
Thank you. The fuck is Balloon Kid?
No idea.
I take it back. You don't get the super guess anymore.
No,
Yeah. It's a platformer.
So, co-developed by Nintendo.
Co-developed. Oh, I'm gonna hate this.
I don't know about
By
this.
Nintendo, Midway, and Rare.
I don't know about this.
Released
I don't know
released
about
in
this.
1994 in the arcades as an Ultra 64 machine. The fighting game Killer Instinct.
Bullshit.
Okay, we said first party.
It is a first party game.
I don't know about this.
It's 100% first party.
I don't know about this.
Nintendo published it and developed it.
Hold on.
Co-developed
Arcade?
it. Co-developed it.
Yeah.
But
It was using their own architecture. They developed the game. They published the game. It was released on the Super Nintendo, the N64, the Game Boy.
Okay.
Definitely disagree.
But it came out in arcades first, though.
Yeah.
True.
Killer
it did come out.
Instinct?
Yeah. You never
Yeah.
asked. You never asked. Did it come out on Super Nintendo first?
Yeah.
You said, "Did it come out on Super Nintendo?" I said, "Yep."
And it did.
And it had a shitty Game Boy version, just like I thought.
It did have a terrible Game Boy version.
How would they even make that work? I don't even know.
It was
You just gotta see the screenshots. It's just
worse than the Mortal Kombat Game Boy,
Oh my god.
which was bad.
Should have known. It would have been
Co-developed.
One of his favorite
that was
games of all
all
time.
Developed.
That was a good burn.
That was a good.
I'm not gonna let that one slip by next time.
Yeah. That was good. Yeah, you snuck in under a technicality, I think, on that one.
See, because when you ask like first party, it's like, I should have just been like, yes,
That probably would have helped us, to be honest.
But then again, that was question 4. If you'd asked that like question 15, I would have been like, yeah.
Fair enough.
But who was saying fighting game? I think it was Mike. Was like, maybe it's a fighting game. I was like, oh shit, here we go. And then like no one even thought of Killer Instinct. I was like, god damn it.
because it's not a first.
I didn't realize that Rare had a partnership with I knew that Rare did a partnership with Midway.
Well, Nintendo
not
owned Rare. Nintendo owned Rare at the time.
I didn't know that. I thought Rare was a standalone at the time.
No, they were like Naughty Dog to Sony. They were like
books.
No idea.
like Last of Us is a first party game.
No. But didn't Rare do Donkey Kong Country?
Yeah,
Oh,
because Nintendo owned them.
right. Yeah, I remember.
So
that
it was a first. Just the fact that they don't own them now, it was like Killer Instinct was a first party game.
Good one, Dan. Good one.
Yeah, it was a good one.
So there you
Well
go.
played.
It was a good one.
And with that, it's 2 hours. Good lord. See you next week, I guess. Yeah, that's right.
Probably.
It's a long weekend here in the Great White North.
It is?
We'll have the Monday off, the 24th.
Oh, mother.
37 degrees with the humidity this weekend.
Oh fuck!
What?
I know it's gonna be
Yeah.
nuts. And of course, my pool's fucking broken. But whatever.
I'm gonna sit in my pool and I'll take video of me lounging in it. That's fine. It'll be good.
This seems like fair comeuppance, yeah.
I'll just show up. I'll just show up with my family, all of us in our bathing suits already. Like, oh, Nick, you said it was cool. And then Jen will be like, "You did?" I'm like, "Yeah, don't worry, Jen. That's totally what he said."
Oh yeah, no. She knows that wouldn't be the case. I'd be lucky if I could sleep inside the house if that were the case. I still have to find
You garage now.
Goody. Yes, wax on, wax off. Bye.